Do you know that Southeast leaders are among those holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Abuja in DSS custody, not Tinubu and not the Yorubas? Yes, I know that the Yorubas are working hard and also using them, but they are the main reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is there. See, I'm going to play these videos. There are different videos. Watch this video and make your own conclusion on what is happening to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Ndi Igbo today. All of them that speak in this video are Igbos. Watch the video and give your own judgment.
The executive governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo, yesterday on channel television has declared his stand that he does not share the same vision with Nnamdi Kanu on Igbo nation. You see what he's talking about, Igbo nation, not even in Biafra. So he believed in one Nigeria. Yes, most of us in those days believe in one Nigeria. But the way things are happening today, we are asking for a referendum according to Nnamdi Kanu's vision. Many people believed in Nnamdi Kanu more than them that claim to become Igbo political leaders. Just like what former executive governor of Abia State, Senator Joseph Kalu, said last time, that he cannot join the protest, release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now, because the case is still in the court. But I want to tell you or remind him that when he was in prison, Nnamdi Kanu was one of the people that used his platform and fought for him. One of the brokers he made contributed for his own release. I don't know what I might have told him, but I believe he knows what I'm talking about today. So I am not here to blame anybody. You might share the vision or you might not share the vision. However, you have your diplomatic passport as a governor of Anambra State to travel to any country in the world that you love. In addition, your children are abroad, in overseas, enjoying themselves. So why did you ask them to go to that place? They're supposed to be here. Join us and suffering and be smiling as we are suffering today and smiling in Nigeria. Anyway, I won't blame them much because the way it's programmed that most of them will get whatever they need in Nigeria, become rich, and they are used to make sure that they oppress us so that our own growth will become difficult. Why those selected politicians will be buying their houses abroad, make their money abroad, enjoy themselves abroad. If anything now happens that probably maybe is on leave, you will see him going to US, to UK, Canada, Ireland, Germany, and other places. But we don't have such opportunity. So they should keep on talking about one Nigeria and defend where they are working. The only person I'm blaming today is Lord Lugard, who came to amalgamate us, who bind us together, who brought different nations and merged us together. But anyway, what he did, I think from the understanding they had was after 100 years, it will expire. And now that Nnamdi Kanu and other agitators said that it has expired, we need to come to a round table, sit down and discuss whether we should continue as one nation or we should go on our separate ways for peace to reign. See what the Igbo leaders are saying today. Majority of them believed that if maybe Nnamdi Kanu succeeded by getting Biafra, majority of them will not occupy the seat they are occupying today because they are old, aged, might not be opportune to be in such position. So what they now do is to make their money here, go to abroad and buy houses, buy different cars, enjoy themselves, and preach against self-determination, which is an international law. So if you said you don't want that, there's no problem. You are entitled to your opinion.
It is very unreasonable to keep a man in detention for almost 7 years. What are you judging? This is telling on the judicial process of Nigeria. I tell you again, in the Constitution, they say the Attorney General, while making any decision as to charging anybody, discontinuing or taking over any criminal charge, should have regard for public interest, the interest of justice, and the need not to abuse the legal process. For me, in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the legal processes have been abused. Nobody will remain sane to be in jail for more than 7 years that a case is being tried. People are frustrated. People believe that if you do not find anything against this man, release him or reach a political solution. That is what is bringing all these things. It's a result of frustration that there is no interest of justice served in this. So diligent prosecution is one of the pillars of justice in a criminal offense. I do not see that diligence. And the federal government is failing on all fronts. Remember, we have pleaded that this should be treated as a political issue and settled out politically so that every party will go home in peace. And then you are the one who arrested him. You are the one who put him on trial. You are the one who is delaying for up to 7 years without giving clear justice. So the federal government is failing on all rounds. And as they keep failing, they are making their matters worse.
So do you think that this is really, you've said this is a political issue.
It should be a political issue.
It should be.
Yes.
But is it?
That's what I'm saying. The government should treat it as a political issue. Remember, during the colonial masters, where people were fighting for our independence, the colonial masters saw them also as adversaries. But they were genuine fighters of freedom. So in this world, there will always be two aspects of an issue. You know, the kind of cost-benefit issue, if it is in business. What is a cost to somebody is a benefit to another. That is how you treat political issues. To some people, he's fighting and agitating for their rights and freedom. You should also take that into consideration. To you, you may say he may have infringed on some laws. Why doing that? You should take that into consideration. And if you're a wise government, you will come to a negotiation table and let each side make a shift and come to a compromise and settle this issue politically.
The issue which he agitates for, which IPOB has agitated for years, is something that countries generally find very difficult to deal with, which is the issue of self-determination. How do you think that that can be resolved, given the fact that even if the federal government were to say, look, politically, we release him today, that certainly will not stop the agitations for people who believe that he should be given a separate country of their own?
Very good. And that is why you should not attribute it to him, that he is the originator and the perpetrator of this. I think it predates him and might even outlive him. So it is about the government learning how to treat agitators and how to dialogue with them. Because as you have aptly stated it didn't start with him. We've had MASOP, we've had other organizations. It may certainly not end with him. So it's about people expressing in their different ways their manners of frustration with the system. When things were so good in Nigeria, I wasn't hearing all these agitations. But whatever name you call them, it is frustration to the suffering, to the hunger and hardship in the country. That is the truth.
I was going to ask though, what side are you on? Are you on the side of the protesters? Do you support their cause? Or do you think that since this matter is already in court, pressure should be applied to the federal government to let this matter run as quickly as possible?
Very good. I am on the side of rule of law. I just told you that Nigerians have the right to protest. Section 40. And you can't take it away from them. It's their natural right, innate in them. And the Supreme Court has said, beyond exercising these rights, no human being can live a civilized life. So it is their innate natural right to protest. And it should be encouraged in a democracy. Because when you bottle up all these things, then there will be an implosion and explosion. But when people are allowed to express themselves, according to Section 39, they will ease off their anger, they will feel they've been heard, and then the government will also use it to understand the feeling of the people and know the solutions they are from and they are at. So the issue is that it is a support to rule of law. What does rule of law say? Somebody is innocent until you prove him guilty. And you must prove him guilty within a reasonable time. When it's unreasonable, it's no longer rule of law. And for me, keeping somebody for 7 years in the name of trial is unreasonable. So whatever it is, it should end now. Nnamdi Kanu should be released. Either the justice system moves at the speed it ought to move. In our laws, criminal trial ought to be held every day until judgment. That is what the law says. So I am on the side of law. I'm on the side of justice. Whether there's marginalization against the Southeast, that is given. So whether people will agitate, that is legal. Their method of agitation should also be legal. And if the government believes somebody has exceeded, then when you're applying the law, apply it legally, judiciously, and judicially. And in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, with respect, I can say they have not lived up to it.
Before the protest, I was one of those who said, look, let those who, Southeasterners keep away. And the reason why I said that was that when Shôcking started calling names of P2B, trying to rub him in the mud, and I said to somebody, jokingly, I said, if P2B shows there, they will either kill him or arrest him. And the next thing is that they will charge him for treason. So for me, the protest did not achieve what it was meant to achieve. But one thing I like the protest for is that we have moved it from the Southeast to the seat of power. And that's what I've always told the people in the Southeast. Those who declare sit at home, I say, you cannot declare sit at home in the Southeast and you expect it to affect the federal government. Declare it in the, come to the Abuja and declare. Or you say that all Igbos who are trading in Nigeria every Monday don't open your shops, then it will affect the government. So what they were doing in the Southeast was actually killing the Southeast rather than protecting and elevating the Southeast.
But do you think that that particular call on mandate will ever hold water, given the fact that the ED of the Lagos Trade Fair, say something yesterday that Igbos, who happens to be the majority persons trading in that trade fair, should try their best not to be part of the protest? Talking about the fragility of the trade fair and its complex at this point.
Well, if you look at it from that point, everybody's protecting themselves. But I am telling you, that's why we have a problem in Ebola. First problem we have is that, what is it? The Igbos have no leader. And unfortunately, the people you see today parading themselves as leaders are not leaders. These are psychopaths. And that is where the problem of the Igbo man starts. The Igbos have no person who is speaking for them. The things that are happening in Igbo land cannot happen in the north. You see where the bandits sit down with government officials negotiating. Can it happen? Can you see IPOB sitting down in the southeast negotiating? It will not happen. Because you have a country that you're running two laws. One law is for the south, one law is for the north. And we must be very honest with ourselves when we say these things. The unity that these people keep talking about is not applicable in the southeast. It's not applicable. Even though some of us will try not to bring tribe and all sentiment into it, but it's getting to the point where we must begin to tell ourselves that for us to have a Nigeria that works, we must have the same law applying across.
With similar applying. Prince, I want to ask you, and after that, I would like Elvis to have his take on this question now. Do you think that any level of pressure through protest mounted on the federal government will lead to the release of Nnamdi Kanu?
The only solution to the release of Nnamdi Kanu is political.
Is protest part of it?
No. Okay. It is political. Nnamdi Kanu is a political prisoner.
Okay.
There are other people who have said worse things than Nnamdi Kanu. Where you come from in Nigeria today, determines the kind of justice you get.
Prince, I want you to answer my question directly. Do you think that any level of protest mounted, and I asked you, political solution, is protest part of the political solution?
No.
Okay, so
I do not believe in this protest.
That was the first question I asked.
I do not. You know why I do not believe in this protest?
Okay.
I do not believe in it because you cannot tell a child more about the father than the child. The man behind the people behind the protest, they're not even being sincere. Okay. Honestly speaking, they are not being sincere.
All right.
Let me finish. The only way I will see the sincerity in this protest is if Shôcking gets arrested and tried with the others.
You see, the Nnamdi Kanu question to us Igbos is a very sensitive issue. So,
and I believe for all Nigerians.
Yeah, well, so I will answer it from two perspectives.
Yes.
First, as an Igbo man, then as a senior advocate of Nigeria.
Right.
As an Igbo man, I want them to release Nnamdi Kanu even yesterday. because according to them, he is a freedom fighter. But as a lawyer, when you have handed over your proceedings, your issues to court, you are no longer entitled to resort to self-help. What they are doing now is simply self-help, which is not allowed by law. I think the protest is completely ill-timed. Now, the federal government has closed its case. My highly respected lawyer, Nnamdi, makes a no-case submission, as I'm told, but I'm not following the case.
Yes.
And they overruled it and said,
The finance was called to open its trial.
Come here and tender your defense. Instead of going to tender your defense, you go to the streets.
Lawyer Opara says there's nothing that stops him as a lawyer or a Nigerian from protesting. He says there's no law. That's what he told me.
No, but I'll tell you straight. Now, there was a lawyer that is with us here in Abuja. He did a matter in Kaduna, and he lost. The matter was in the Court of Appeal. He went to, it was a house. He went to the house and wrote, this house is subject of litigation, and wrote his phone number on the property. He's been disbarred.
For writing his number?
His number, yes. Because you are interfering with the judicial proceeding. I won't mention his name. He's been disbarred. And a very, very brilliant young man. I did so many cases when we were doing AA cases together. Very, very, very vibrant young man. Then here you are defending somebody. Why did you see Onyeti Pazo on the street? You are defending somebody, you know the matter is pending in court, and what you as a lawyer doing a matter is asking the federal government to interfere and direct a judge. I don't know if you get it. You direct a judge how to decide a matter pending before him. It is the same people who are shouting up and down that will come and say, Tinubu interfere with the judiciary.